All right, thank you so much. Just sharing my screen here. And let's jump on in. Hopefully you can see my screen. Is everything okay there?
Yes.
On your end? Perfect. Thank you, Leah. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us all here today. And I just want to say a special thank you to the organizers of Charleston In Between for reaching out to us and having us be part of this session. Leah and everyone else, thank you again. As we mentioned at the top, my name is Ryan Rodriguez. I am the Customer Engagement Manager for BMJ, the Americas. I work with all of our institutional accounts from Canada all the way down to the southern tip of Chile, mostly with librarians to just ensure that they know the resources that they subscribe to with the BMJ portfolio, any marketing, usage, and training support. I am your contact for that. Our session today, I know we have about 15 minutes or so I'm going to go rather quickly. It might be because I've had my fourth espresso of today, so if I am speaking a little bit fast, I apologize. You will have access to this presentation and, of course, a copy of this video so that you can go back and perhaps slow my voice down. But we're going to talk a little bit more about research to publication and the collaboration between BMJ and the University of California, San Francisco. At any time, if you have any questions, please feel free to add them in the chat. We should have about 5 or 10 minutes or so at the end to answer any questions. I want you to think about this statement and this statistic that you see up on the screen right now. 85% of healthcare research is wasted. This is a staggering figure, very shocking indeed. And I like to start this out because it really served as the motivation behind the collaboration between BMJ and UCSF to create a tool that addresses many of the challenges and problems that add to that staggering number right there, that 85% of research being wasted. So think about that as we go throughout the presentation. But we're going to cover a couple of things. If you're not familiar with BMJ, I have one slide on who we are, I promise. And then we're going to talk a little bit on the challenges that are being faced today in the research cycle, and then introduce you to research to publication and answer some of these questions: why it was created, what does it cover, and who is it for? And again, throughout the presentation, if you have questions, please add them into the chat. So let's begin. For those of you that are not familiar with BMJ, we were formerly known as the British Medical Journal. We started publishing with one title way back in 1840, so we have 182 years worth of experience sharing medical knowledge with the entire global community. Now, up on the screen right now, you can see the BMJ Impact Report, which was the first report of its kind that we conducted, launched last year. It's available online. But I think the key takeaway here is BMJ's role from that starting at publishing one title to becoming one of the most trusted resources when it comes to healthcare knowledge. And the role that it has played throughout those 180 years or so. One thing that really resonates with me is, being the very first medical publisher back in the 1890s to say, hi, the peer review process should really be part of the scientific cycle. 100 years after that, in the 1990s, BMJ was again one of the first medical publishers to reinforce the importance of EBM, right? Evidence-based medicine. In fact, we partnered with Dr. David Sackett, who's known as one of the fathers of EBM, and published many of those articles that changed the viewpoint on EBM and its importance, and even collaborated with him, launching our very first EBM title called Evidence-Based Medicine, as he was the very first editor-in-chief of that title, which today forms part of the BMJ portfolio and collection. Why do I say all of this? Because when we're talking about BMJ's history and impact, not just our products, right, and our journals and our resources and knowledge that we're spreading, but the key role that it has played in either addressing challenges, finding problems, partnering with individuals or institutions to address those problems, I think that has really solidified BMJ as one of those trusted, reliable sources. So the challenges that we face today when it comes to medical research, right? When that figure that we saw right at the beginning, that 85%, you can see that it's wasted. Most of it, or a little over half, is because it never gets published at all. Researchers get a negative result and find no value, right, in sharing that. But there is value in that. But there are other factors and forces that create that waste in research. A lot of it has to do because the actual design of the study has significant flaws in it, flaws that can be addressed if those skills and that knowledge is addressed right at the onset. And if you take a look at the challenges in medical curriculum specifically, there was a study that was released just last month in one of the titles for Springer Nature. I have the sources down here. It's the first study of its kind, surveying hundreds of medical students around the world. The bulk of them, 97%, said that it is extremely valuable to learn about the research cycle and the research process during their curriculum, right? During those years of study. But only 19 of them at the end of their program felt that they had the confidence or felt adequate enough in the research and medical writing skills and getting published. Most of them find that sort of knowledge and those skills from individuals outside of their institution. And excuse me, my screen just went blank. There we go. I'm back. Can you see my screen still? For some reason, it turned off for a second.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that leads me to, we spoke very quickly about the challenges, right, that we're facing. And this is what led to the creation of Research to Publication, this collaboration between UCSF and BMJ. It's a completely online learning resource and tool with the key perspective and unique perspective of people who know what they're talking about, bottom line, right? So you have the collaboration between the medical researchers and the faculty and staff at UCSF School of Medicine, right, who have collaborated with the top editors of the BMJ portfolio to create these courses and these modules that give you the perspective on how to properly conduct research and also share that research, right? And we share that research in this particular case by getting published in an international journal. There are 8 courses composed of 52 different modules, and you can see the courses follow the entire research cycle, all the way from how to develop really good research questions, right? And the format that you should follow, all the way to picking the right journal and getting published and avoiding scientific misconduct. Now, the great thing about the actual platform and tool itself is that it is intuitive, it is created for the individual learner. So while it was created to follow that workflow, you don't necessarily need to follow it if some of your research skills are more advanced. But it is a self-study course. It's learn as you go. You can see some of the key features on the left-hand side when it comes to self-study. But because the product has been out now for a couple of years, it is a global product. We've also seen how the modules and the courses are supplementing many librarians' work when it comes to creating the research skills or the publishing or the medical writing skills that they pull from these courses and these modules, right? And these assessments and these homework assignments to supplement what they are already doing to really support, right, the awareness of the importance of creating research in an ethical and proper way, and of course, sharing it with the rest of the world. Now, the rest of the slides are going to be some screenshots of the actual platform and tool, but I will say that every single module begins and ends in the same way. Everything in the middle fluctuates and changes a little bit, but at the home page of the actual module, you'll find basic information and details about what you are going to learn. You're going to see what are those learning objectives, which means you can decipher, is this module right for me or not? You'll see who wrote it, when it was. You also see some information from users from around the world commented and sort of shared their experience on whether or not these modules were relevant to them or not. And then you just click on take the course. Now, the great thing about the platform is that it is intuitive and it has been built for the end user in mind, that experience. So as soon as you create an account, all of the activity that you have on the platform is automatically recorded. There's no need to save, no need to press anything. It automatically does that for you. It organizes it in such a way that if you do close out of a module, you can pick right back up where you left off. Now, what I did say at the beginning was that every module begins and ends the same way. What's in the middle sometimes fluctuates depending on the purpose of why that module was created in the first place. So there's going to be a rich mix of images, graphs, video lectures. Some modules have pre-tests and homework assignments, and they all have either recommended additional reading materials or sources, and they all end with an actual assessment. Some modules, like I said, are literally like if you are sitting in the classroom learning from the faculty from UCSF on how to conduct proper research and develop those skills. Some other modules are going to be much more text heavy, but still filled with enough information so that it is engageful, right? And at the end, you have the opportunity to test your knowledge and to test your skills. You'll have an assessment. You need to have an 80% or more in order to successfully pass that module, but no need to stress. You can retake modules as many times as you want. You can revisit them as many times as you want throughout the subscription period. They are yours to take. They are yours to learn. I know I breezed through that very quickly, but of course, if you do have any questions, please let me know. And finally, the last portion of this is really about this particular statement here, pulled from this particular article, that research is not complete until it is published, right? So if we go back to our grade school, we were conducting those scientific experiments, we formed our hypothesis, we wrote down all the steps that we made, we've had a conclusion, and at the end of the day, what did we do? You know, we shared it with our parents. No, I'm just kidding. We went to the science fair, right? And we shared our results with our peers. And this is how it completes the entire scientific method and research process, right? You share it with the world. And whatever avenue you take, that's up to you. But in this particular tool, the whole purpose was built on really solidifying those research skills, the importance of the research skills, learning how to conduct research properly and ethically, right? And then with the aim to get published in an international journal. And while the tool itself is publisher agnostic, there is an added benefit to those institutions that subscribe, because any user that does complete R2P, or research to publication, and the modules here, does have access to a significant discount off of the article processing charges if they choose to conduct their research and publish it within the BMJ portfolio, and if they choose to publish it open access. So we have over 70 titles. I mentioned, I talked about BMJ before, but there is that added sort of benefit to those subscribers. But again, the proof is in the pudding. So I'll leave you right before the final slide. The URL is r2p.bmj.com, but I really want to leave you with this information here. There's a QR code. You can scan it at the end, and it will take you to the proof in the pudding. We have a brand new release testimonial from users who completed the actual course. We're looking at where they are at 1 year after they completed it, even 2 years after they have completed it, and see what are the results from all the knowledge and the skills that they acquired while taking the courses and the modules of research to publication. That's my email, that's my contact information if you do have any questions, but take a look at that case study because I think it's quite fascinating. You'll see that there were some more experienced researchers that had already published, and they significantly increased not the quantity of their output, but the quality of their output. Some of these researchers were able to publish in some pretty big titles like JAMA, for example. You'll also see the perspective of a novice researcher and see where they are at a year or 2 years after they've completed it. Have they published or not? And I'll give you quick insights. They have published actually half a dozen times at this point. So there's a QR code. Please, if you do have any questions, you have my email. But I think that was about 15 minutes or so, Leah. I'm going to open it up now to see if there are any questions that have come in. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much, Ryan. We'll open the floor now for attendee questions. You can use the chat or you can use the Q&A button. I see we have one already that's come in from Michelle. It's a three-part question. We'll do one at a time. Is the BMJ research to publication in English only?
Yes, it is. All the video lectures do have subtitles. So if you want to download the transcripts, you can follow them as well. We do have guides that are available in multiple languages that help guide you through the platform itself, but all of the content is in English. The language of science is in English. So we have found users from around the world actually finding it very beneficial that the content is in English. Those video lectures are in English. The audio files are in English. So yes.
Got it. Okay, do the supplemental readings go to BMJ content?
No, some of it does, but most of it actually doesn't. And the supplemental reading material, that's just the authors of that particular module, what they have found useful throughout their career and their experience. It's not necessary, it's just an add-on. So if you want to expand your research or your knowledge or your skills or have some extra time, you can definitely click on those links. Some of them are ebooks, some of them are other journal articles, but yeah, it's not just coming from BMJ content.
Got it. Thank you.
Is it mobile optimized? I can see some of the questions
Gotcha.
here. Thank you. Keep them coming. Is it mobile optimized or does it have an app? It does not have an app. This is really catered to the online learner. So it is desktop. It is optimized for Google Chrome. And it is like, you know, you have homework assignments, you have the ability to add Word documents in your BMJ portfolio, which sort of tracks all of your activity there, but it is geared towards that online learner. However, I'll say a pause on that, I'll put a pin on that. I have used my mobile device to perhaps look at the video lectures, for example, or even hear the audio archives. You can use it, but you know, I think as a learner, and I think we know it's better to have the desktop experience so that you can really, you know, focus on what you are learning. But I have used the videos on my phone, so I'm guilty. It does work. What is the APC discount for subscribers? So for users in the US and Canada, it's 20%. So it's a quite significant discount, and that is to publish in the BMJ portfolio if you choose to publish an open access article. So we have 25 titles that are completely, and the remaining of our titles are hybrid. So it's 20%. Is it geared towards clinical research only, or does it include basic science research instruction? So that's a good question, and we get that a lot. It is mostly geared towards anyone that is conducting research in medicine, in public health, epidemiology. There are some basic research building skills, right? Because you are hearing directly from UCSF, but the whole emphasis here really is for doctors and anyone really conducting research in medicine. I hope that helps.
Any more questions for Ryan? Let's see. Ryan, could you tell us, are the modules available in SCORM format?
Yes, they are. Thank you, Leah. So they are available. Like I said, there's 8 courses, 52 modules in total, and they are available in SCORM format if you want to add those into your own LMS system. Yeah,
great.
Good question. Thank you.
Anything else? Or Ryan, while we're waiting, do you want to wrap up or say anything else?
Yeah, I'll just say, you know, if you have any questions, my email was on that last slide. Take a look at that case study. I think it's really impactful and eye-opening for me. I got to read it last week, so this is fresh off the press, as they say. And again, thank you, Leah, for inviting us and your time. And yeah, any questions about BMJ in general, I'm here.
Great. Thank you so much.